All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of BloxFam Breakthroughs. I'm Jessi, founder and creative director of This Way to Fabulous, a branding agency helping entrepreneurs really make sure that they have the strong foundations built in their business before they start throwing money into growth marketing. So today I'm here with my gal pal and fellow castmate, Jess. It's a Jess thing.
It's a Jess thing.
Yes. If you guys don't already know, I am a magnet for Jesses, other Jesses.
Same.
I do have 2 Jesses on my team, and there's only 5 of us. So, or the majority of my team. It's fantastic. And in college, actually, I had 3 Jesses on my volleyball team. And so I was actually JB in college for a long time. That was like my nickname because I apparently just am a magnet for Jesses. It's a thing. So, okay, guys. So we are castmates from season 17 of TheBlox. For some perspective, it is about the middle of October, and we filmed in about the middle of July, August. So that's like we're about 3 months out now from filming our season, which is wild, right? I know it kind of seems like a year ago and yesterday all at the same time. It's a mind fuck, just like that entire week was.
Like, I feel like too, the fact that, you know, and obviously it's going to happen, right? It's like the same thing when you graduate from high school or college and you're like, oh my God, we're going to be friends forever. And I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm a little bummed that some people that I thought we were going to talk more afterward, we haven't. Like, that's been odd. And that's on me too. You know, I'm not saying it's all on them because I haven't done my due diligence either, but still, it's just like, yeah, it's like forever.
Life is hard, Jess. Come on, man. We're so busy. We're so busy.
I don't cry daily.
We're so busy. We're so busy, you guys. But we are here today, and I'm super excited to chat with Jess today about some major breakthroughs that we had while we were filming TheBlox, and also just kind of chat about our time on there, because I think that, you know, it was definitely a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity that came into our lives. And I, for one, will never, ever, ever forget it or take it for granted, because I truly believe that a lot of the people that I met there and the experiences that we all went through together, all of us are going to carry with us for a very long fucking time. So, Jess, before we kind of like dive in, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody, you know, who you are, what you do, you know, kind of like what you had to do while we were on the show. I know for you, it's changed a little bit since the show. So I'm excited to hear your like new entrance. So why don't you let everybody know who you are?
Oh God. All right. So my name's Jess Poynter. And I'm the founder and CEO of Work in Progress. I mean, it's funny because I'm kind of like trying to figure out what my name is, but like on the show, it was JP Hair Solutions, because I provide the path back to like your best head of hair. And that actually is kind of one of the evolutions that I'm going through right now, is like finding all the things, but we'll get to that, you know, it's fine. But anyways, like I look at building blocks inside with your hair strand to see what you're missing so that you can get back to your best head of hair.
So Jessi is a trichologist. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that means?
Yes. So a trichologist is somebody that works with the scalp and all of the disorders, all the irregularities, right? So we have all of the issues just with scalp problems, right? And people have psoriasis, there's eczema, they don't know why. Maybe it feels like you have scalp acne, your hair isn't growing the way you want it to, just all things scalp. And so being that I'm a cosmetologist and a trichologist, I deal with the scalp almost as like soil in a forest. And then I also deal with the ends to make it all pretty and whatever you want it to be.
Yes, I love this. I feel like Jess has a really unique story, and she's also just, well, she's a Jess, so I mean, obviously, but she's definitely someone that I was magnetized to outside of her name. I don't even think I knew her name, like in the moment that I felt like I want to get to know this girl. Or she probably said it and I didn't really hear it because I was only like half paying attention. Sometimes I was really distracted by the production crew because I like want to be on the production crew. So I was very distracted by the production crew half the time. But anyway, Jess is just one of those humans that like, you know, her personality, the aura she carries around her. She was just someone that I was very magnetized to while we were there. So, Jess, why don't you give us a little context of what life was like before the blocks? Like, what was the season of business that you were in before the blocks, before you kind of headed out to Tulsa to film?
What am I doing? I mean, honestly, you know, like I know what I'm doing. I know, like I started my business first just doing hair, right? And we all just say that it's just doing hair. And so I was reaching a point though with cuts and colors and Brazilian blowouts and highlights and all that. I'm like, this is not it. Like I need more than this. And so then I started getting certified in things that I myself have always been looking for answers for. Like my hair, as we can all see, is very, very thin. And I have gone through so many different avenues. And so I was kind of in like that sophomore year of high school type feeling where you're like, I'm good. I made it through freshman year, barely, and I need to find something else. And so it was also at that point too, like when we're sophomores, where we think, oh my gosh, I know everything.
Mm-hmm.
I am just everything right now. And it's like, no, pumpkin, you're not. Like you're really, really not. You know things, but you're not quite there. So it's kind of like that next jumping off point. And then I was realizing that literally right before I went to Tulsa, it was kind of, I felt like a junior. And it was, it was like, okay, you've done all the things, you've done all the certification, and now you have to get ready for the next big step. But you don't know what it is. You just have to blindly apply to things because that's what everybody tells you have to do. You have to apply to college or whatever. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to apply myself and I'm going to get the bigger room and I'm going to make it look like I'm going to do all the things. And it's almost a sense of my least favorite phrase in the world of fake it till you make it. Mm-hmm. And I was living that fake it till you make it, which for me is a lie. Like that's just a straight up lie. And so I have now shifted it. And it was right before going to Tulsa. I went back to a mantra that I've had since I was in college, actually, that you have to face it, right? You have to face it until you make it because faking it is going to get you nowhere. It's the same thing I tell my kids, like short-term gain for long-term pain is faking it until you make it. Like you're going to have all the things, but then when push comes to shove, and as we all know as entrepreneurs, shove is going to come at some point. It will come. And it's how braced are you for it, right? And I
realized was the blocks. Shove was the blocks with an added slap in the face when you got there, and an added slap in the face when you got home.
Dude, and I thought that I was doing all the things beforehand. Like I was prepping the way I was supposed to, and I thought I'm not going to watch the show because I don't want to get tainted. And then come to find people meeting them like. You know who I'm going to say, Jen and Bonnie.
I was just going to say, I just talked to them last week. We talked all about it. Yeah.
As soon as I saw like all of the prep that they had done for the show aspect, I was like, I didn't prep for this very well. And so, yeah, the shove was the blocks, but in all of the best ways, because it forced me to face it. It forced me to recognize that even like today, I still don't know what my exact elevator pitch is because I'm still navigating towards that. That's still where I'm at right now. I'm just one foot in front of the other. And I'm coming to the end of my junior year. I feel like I'm not a full blown senior where I can be like, yes, I know all the things. No. I know them. They're in here, but getting them out is like a whole different thing. Mm-hmm. So like before the blocks, it's kind of where I'm at right now of a different version of I can't afford emotionally, physically, financially to fake it anymore. For sure. And I'm going against everything that I know to be true for myself as a person, as a business, by faking it. So the blocks was literally like, you know, when they're in like so many movies you've seen, like somebody slaps the main character in the face and it's just like, oh, I needed that so much more than I actually thought I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's what it was like leading up to and getting to the blocks was just, and I realized like that is now honestly what I'm considering to be the starting point of my business, because before that I didn't know what I wanted. And being on the show, connecting with people like you and Jen and Bonnie and Kayla, oh my gosh, she changed my life. I'm not even kidding you. Like I connected with her for using her services after TheBlox. And I'm not joking when I say it changed my life, but that's a whole separate thing. So yeah, it was just kind of trying to figure out what is the next step.
Yeah.
And just grasping at any possible straw that I saw. And of course, like a movie again, I'm flipping through and I saw the call, and it was, are you an entrepreneur struggling? I'm like, yeah.
Why do you have to call me out like that?
Like for sure. And then unfortunately though, I still remember talking to Cassie and Megan. Megan sounds right. That doesn't sound. Anyway, when I was doing like each round of casting, each one, because again, unfortunately, every founder turns into the biggest, like, like, what's his face? Mr. Burns is looking at us like, how can I get everything out of you? So every single call and every email and every follow-up that we got from them, which was wonderful, I still felt like you're gonna take me for everything. I'm gonna lose everything again because I'm trying to do something to move forward, and it's just gonna end up biting me because again, there's so many other people out there that are like, well, we can just fake it. It's fine, right? It's like,
I think that's part of the casting rubric, though. I think that they do a really good job of, kind of seeing through the bullshit. Because everybody that was involved in the casting process, they are a part of the entrepreneurship world. They are, people that Wes knows has mentored, all the things, and like they're trained to see through the bullshit, and so it makes you think even more about the fact that we were selected to go, that like I could not help afterwards being like, but what did they see in me? Like what was the thing that, and obviously I know it's a culmination of a lot of little things, but also it's like there had to have been like one tipping point, right? Like what was the tipping point? Why? Like what was the like final thing? But Jess, I want to applaud you for, being open to recognize that, it's not like faking it. I also hate that. I used to be on that train. I won't like sit here and say I was never on that train. That was like what was trendy. Of course I was on that train. Fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah.
But I also have been on the face it till you make it train, because I think that truly hindsight is 2020, and when you look backwards you realize that the biggest steps you took and the more successful decisions that you made were not because you just kind of like jumped in and like hoped for the best. It was because you went through something at one point and learned and added a tool to your toolbox, so that this time around, you're like, okay, well now I have 5 tools, so let's see what happens when I face it with 5 tools. And maybe you succeed, maybe you fail again, now you have 6 tools in your box. And like being able to recognize that entrepreneurship is the long game, and that it's a journey, and that truly there is no destination. That like once entrepreneurs can really start to like live in that mindset, success just kind of like success and momentum and money and like all the things, they just kind of like they snowball in, right? Like I had what I would have thought was it all, 6 years ago, right? And I thought that building a 6-figure or building a 7-figure business was what you had to do to be successful. And when I got to the top of the 7-figure mountain, 7 figures didn't even matter anymore. People were making 10. I mean, like people were multi-billionaires at that point. It was just kind of like, why am I chasing this destination? But realizing all of the things that I had learned along the way when I lost it all, especially, it's just like, damn, okay, like let's live and learn. Let's keep moving. And I applaud you for recognizing that that moving is the important part, right?
Well,
it doesn't matter which direction or how fast you're moving. It matters that you're moving.
It's so true. And that's honestly one of the things, like when I look back, I just turned 37 in September, and I look back and I think like, oh my God, I haven't accomplished enough. And like, I'm reading a book right now. What am I reading right now? Tiny Beautiful Things by Cheryl Strayed. And one of the things that because it's all written as like advice columns or whatever. And there was a person that wrote in saying like, oh my gosh, I'm 25 and I haven't written the next great American novel. And her response was, how dare you? Like, first of all, how dare you put that much pressure on yourself? Second of all, how dare you say that you try to emulate these people that are not even really hitting their stride until they're in their 50s and 60s, and their best work didn't come until then, after going through all of this heartache and pain. Because again, you have to learn through every single thing. And that's why my dad, being a teacher, always told his students, you have to fail. Learning is failing, because it is your first attempt in learning. You have to fail, because if you don't, you will know nothing, right? And we know this now as entrepreneurs, and figuring out, oh, that didn't work, all right, let's try that, and hoping that the fallout from that is not as bad as the last one, right? Like, because it's going to come. And again, it's what I tell my kids, it's gonna come no matter what. So why not just be prepared for what you have right here, so that when those do come, you have a good foundation, and it's not going to totally throw you out of whack, which 1,000%. Is ultimately what I tell my clients too. Like, that's what my business is like, we're going to have stress. We're going to have emotional ups and downs. We're going to have sickness. We're like all of these things that affect your entire body. But again, if we can shift the perspective and recognize that this is an indicator of what's happening in here because of everything that's happening around you, it turns into, you're not failing, you're not messing up, you're not losing your hair or having, scalp itchiness because you're doing something wrong. Your body's trying to talk to you. So absorb it, be open to it, right? Like, honestly, I mean, these little munchkins, oh, my mic fell off.
She's so cute. I saw that picture back there. I was like, oh my God, she's so cute.
But truthfully, talk about a shift in perspective. I too had that whole plan, right? Like, I was supposed to be a retail manager. I had it all. Like, I was a store manager younger than people had seen in a long time for a luxury brand. And I didn't want it because I kept having so much stress, and I kept realizing what it was affecting in me. And like, we didn't really talk about this later on, but earlier, but I have a very, they put all of it into perspective, because these were not our first attempts at having children, and it did not go well. But because I was not looking at the pictures around me and looking at all of what was trying to come through, I was like, no, this is what I have to do. I have to make the money, and I have to have the job. And it's like, no, this, granted, those pictures are yours. But you know what I mean? Like, that's where you have to do the perspective. And so that's what I feel like I got also by being on TheBlox, was almost like that reset of, remember why you're doing this. You're not doing this to make money. You're not doing this. I mean, yes, it's to make money, but why are you wanting to make money? It's for them. It's so that you can they have a better version of what you had, because they'll have their own struggles. But if they can at least have a solid foundation different than what I had, wonderful, and so that's that was when I say, like, TheBlox really was a new beginning. It was, slap in the face. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this as a business? Why are you doing this for your family? Why are you putting yourself through this? What's it all for? Right. So,
dare I say, do you feel as though, TheBlox was, in a sense, validation of what you were feeling, that something was off, something was missing, something was, whatever. We all, it's as humans, it's so much easier to look externally to find validation or reasoning or what to do next and whatever. And I feel like TheBlox for me was very much a forceful inward validate, like they weren't just there to be like, yep, your idea is great, you should keep going. It was more of like asking the questions, pushing the buttons, giving you the right kind of stressors, like the 15 minutes to find your pod room and write your speech. Hindsight was really like, those are the things that we need as entrepreneurs, is to be forced into positions where we have to look nowhere else but inwardly to make those decisions, to take that next step, to figure out, what we're going to do, because there was no one coming to save us. I mean, even my CFO didn't save me on Money Day. There was no one coming to save me. There was no one coming to save me.
It's so funny you say that, because literally, like, the other day, I seriously, when I say I've been having breakthroughs ever since the blocks, it happens, I'm not joking, like at least once every 2 weeks. No joke. And I just had one 3 days ago, when I basically was crumbled in a ball in the corner thinking, like, where am I going to find next week's rent? Like, I've already done the downsizing that I can. I've already done, like, where am I going to find it? And I thought of the episodes of Working Moms. I love that show so much, but it was literally called No One Is Coming. There is not going to be some giant rainbow in the sky that's just going to drop down money. There isn't going to be some miraculous grant that's coming. You just have to put one foot in front of the other. And guess what? Guess what that also led me to figuring out is, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt what my MVP is. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt who I'm trying to serve. And I feel like I'm getting closer to a name change to reflect that. But that's the thing. You have to be finding the lessons in every single moment, or not the lessons, but like, there's an impact in everything, because yeah, no one is coming. No one is going to save the day. And that's what I had to tell myself. I literally wrote it into a note saying, you have the tools. And it's not to say that no one is coming and you're all alone. It's that what you need, you already have. And utilize that to its fullest extent. Utilize your networking and connections. Utilize this thing that constantly you're being told, well, you just do hair, so how do you know that? It's like, yeah, I might just do hair, but I also have a ridiculous background. And that was one of the other things too, that for my own self, at the blocks, don't judge a book by its cover. How much of a hard time did Wes give Joe for being like, Joe Dirt, and he can't offer anything? I'll tell you right now, I learned so much from Joe because he forced me to simplify it down. He forced me to say, you don't need, nope, get it out. Nope, you don't need that, get it out. And guess who's one of the ones that I'm still following and I'm still in contact with because of everything that he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And are there certain things that we disagree on?
Mm-hmm. Plenty.
Sure. Plenty.
Uh-huh.
But it's recognizing that you can put aside those differences. And that's what I think is so important for just the world at large right now. Like, we have got to stop with this whole bickering thing, and the comparison and the whatever, because we as founders see it because of comparing to what other founders and entrepreneurs, like, oh my God, they made $1 million in a year and I didn't do that. Like, I got so down on myself at the blocks because I didn't go out any night after shooting or filming because I felt so bad at myself. Like, what am I doing in here? Kind of back to what you were saying, like, what did they see in me? Mm-hmm. And there had to have been something because I was there, right? And there was a small part of me. I was like, oh yeah, I feel like the camera's just like following me. Well, no, it's because I was sitting next to Jen and Bonnie. So I was like, oh, okay, fine.
I think that I'm a firm believer in the hindsight is 2020 thing. I can't ever come away from that because I feel like I do really have like some of the clearest thoughts when I think back to things. And I think that the way that I view Joe, first of all, he was fucking hilarious. But I think that down deeper, he was proof that growth and transformation can happen in the places that you least expect it, or in the people that you least expect. Because I think a lot of people were very initially like, oh my God, Joe, he's so funny, I love him, but like, what is he doing? Like, I'm not actually gonna like listen to whatever his advice is, like, yeah, whatever, but like, he's really funny, right? But like, I truly think that his position as a judge on the show was to prove that there is no dream persona. There is no one size fits all. There is no like one kind of place or one kind of person that you're going to learn something about yourself or something about your past or your future. Like, there is no one thing, there is no destination that's going to give you exactly what you need. You need to be paying attention to what you see while you're driving, right? You need to pay attention to the things that you're passing, the trees, the other cars or whatever, because I truly think that even if I think back into my entire life of being an entrepreneur, the places I found the most growth or the most momentum or the most whatever were when A, I wasn't looking for it, and B, they were in the places or people that I would have never expected.
Yep.
That was his position. His main, like, that was his, he might have been arguably one of the most impactful people on the judge panel from that aspect.
Easily. Honestly, and for that reason, I would say, for me, on that basis alone, him and Amber.
Yeah. I loved Amber. Even though she didn't choose me on branding day. I loved her.
But like, I mean, exactly to that point, like, first off, I don't know if you can tell, I have a golden voice problem.
I love it.
But also too, like, I keep all of these, like, I have all of our family photos here for a reason. I have this is actually the conversation that I had with Kayla. I mean, I feel like it's not really a secret, but she does celestial healing. She's a medium. She does tarot cards, all that stuff. This is my transcribed recording of the call that she guided me to talk to my mom.
That's amazing.
I hadn't talked to my mom in 12 years before that moment because I was so angry. And after the blocks, I was like, I need to talk to her. Something is not adding up, and I need, because if what I think is true, it will make so much more sense, and I can actually now shift my perspective because I know a different side, and it did exactly that. And so literally I keep it at my desk so that I know, like, little reminders here and there of like, hey, the universe is winking. We just watched Haunted House, and it was like, those on the other side, it's like when you see some remembrance or whatever of somebody that you knew and loved and all that, it's the ghost realm winking at you. And that's truly what I believe it is, because for me personally, not to get all like wooey on it, but it's almost like contact, like if it's just us here right now, it's a giant waste of space.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, again, hindsight is 2020. You got to look back, and you have to look around at every single thing that you have around you right now. And I tell myself this every single day because it's already there in front of you. You just need to figure out how to mold it to what it is that it needs to be. And not in a fake it way, not in a, just get it done. But like, if you actually just sit there and look at it and is like, what is this for me?
And again, I think on that topic, it's really important to recognize that, going backward to certain things in your life that might be painful that we're avoiding because we're human and we're like, no, that's hard. I don't want to do that. But I think it's important to recognize too that, like, maybe 5 years ago, you tried to look back at this time in your life and you were just like, fuck that. No, blah, blah, blah. And now 5 years later, you look back at that same thing. It's important to recognize that you got a new prescription, you got new glasses, you got a new perspective, you have a wider perspective, maybe. Like, just because you can't fix something now or fully work through something now doesn't mean that you never will. It just means that you don't have the tools yet, you don't have the experience yet, you haven't met the right people yet, right? And on that note, I think it's even bigger of an impact that knowing that, like, Wes talks about how much of a genius he is. He is. I mean, I don't think anybody will really ever fight him on that. But I truly look back and try to find, not even try to find, they just kind of like become apparent that he is so fucking genius in the way that he does this, because every single moment of our time there was transformative in one way or another. And just because there was only 10 judges didn't mean that there was 10 people for you to learn from or 10 people to be transformed by. They did such a good job of curating the group of people who were participating in it that I was more transformed by the people I met there than the judges. I mean, like, I loved the judges that I had, don't get me wrong, but look at this. The people was a whole different ballgame. Maybe because we were all in prison together and like we were being served the food, not serving the food. But, you know, regardless, like, yeah, I think that like it not only was it strategic to have specific judges, but it was also strategic the way that they did the group, just the way that they casted everybody. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's funny, even like it got to the point though too that Joe Lewis and I, we were in every single pod except for the last one, and we found each other like right before lunch. We're like, what do I do? You're not with me. Like
Who?
a respiratory coach.
Ah.
We were in every single pod, and we were like pod buddies. And then the very last one, we were, and we're like,
oh.
But exactly to your point, do you know how often I think about how important it was to I was like, oh yeah, wow, 3 square meals a day really makes your brain work better. Maybe I should like continue that. Have I had 3 square meals since leaving the Blox? Nope. Do I feel it? Yep. Is it something that has unfortunately moved? It's on the list, and it keeps like moving its priority on the list, but I'm like,
never makes its way to the top though.
Never really does.
Same.
And it's funny because then I tell myself, and I was like, oh, it's okay because I got my supplements from all my stuff, and I'm like, so it's like almost there, but not quite.
But also, do you ever think about how, you know, the way that they had the meals set up? Most of us went and sat with new people every day, you know, tried to meet as many people as we could, but we weren't working. I'm someone who is very guilty of eating through or working through lunch. Like, I am not someone who goes and like takes my lunch. I mean, once in a while, if it's nice outside, I'll go sit outside, but I'm on my phone. I'm checking my email. I'm like doing whatever. Like, what a genius move it was for us to not only be putting ourselves in a position to be meeting other people, but to be away from our work, like to be away and to validate that life doesn't end, work doesn't end, the fires are still going to be burning when you get back. You know, I mean, like, what a full circle mentality that, you know, you recognize later on that you're like, oh yeah, wow, I was able to actually sit down and have a meal without even like working. That's great, huh?
Weird.
What do you know? So it looks like I can do that.
Well, no, and it's so true because like, I find too, like, it's kind of mirror like the same mindset that I have right now of like, just put one foot in front of the other. You will get there. It will take time, but you'll get there. And like, there, just like you said, there will always be more work. There will always be more to do. You can always find things to shove your day, but it's up to you to put the line in the sand and be like, nope, I'm making the choice that I'm done. And like, I will tell you that that's one of the other things since the Blox. I think that it has actually made me a better parent and a better spouse. And I always say parent first as if that is my priority number one. And it's not to say that it's not, but like, I think I always, I don't know, I feel like I list parent first because through all of these little like micro events of and growth, like my husband's been there with me. So I feel like in my head, he's just always number one anyway. So that's why I don't list it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, duh, you know? But I feel like it made me a better person to be in a relationship with, whatever that might be, because I'm going to give you the attention and I'm going to tell you what I can give you and what I cannot give you. And I'm going to be honest and I'm going to be forthright, more so than I ever have been before, because before it was just like, well, if I'm honest, I'll beat you to the punch and then you can't hurt me as badly as I think you're going to, you know? That's literally been my life. Like, I will self-sabotage because I want that short-term pain so that I have the long-term gain of not having to deal with this, because I've dealt with this long-term, so I will nip it real fast. But now I feel like after the Blox, it's kind of in a way taught me how to do that in a softer way.
In a more like long-term efficient way, not just to get it done. Yeah.
because also too, I feel like it kind of mirrors life as a founder as well, because, you know, I get so angry when I hear, not angry, that's so exaggerated, but I'm just like, really? You know, when I see commercials from banks saying like, oh, we want to help small business owners. And I'm like, oh, do you? Really? Is that why you tell them that they are what's the one that I love right now? You have been pre-selected to see if you're pre-approved for a loan.
Like, you're actually worth nothing, but here, let me make you think that you are for just like a
Yeah.
hot minute.
And then we're going to pull your credit so that your numbers and scores go way down so you can't get anything, and then really make you feel like absolute trash. Where again, going to TheBlox, seeing all of these people being exactly where I am, I'm like, oh, so it's not like this big old like surprising smoke and mirrors, you know, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's kind of what I go back to when I think about the audition phase of it. It was so carefully curated, and there's a part of me that I kind of want to get back to like that part of fearlessness. Because I feel like, because we finished
Taking the chance felt
auditioning.
good.
Oh, it felt great.
I mean, it was like, it was
That was-
every level of auditioning was a major dopamine, major like
Oh yeah.
inflation of the head, like, oh damn, oh damn, oh damn.
Look
Yeah.
at me.
Yeah.
And because we finished auditioning what, in the spring?
I applied in like February, early February, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't think I got cast until April, maybe.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm
May.
saying. Like, so, you know, there's a part of me, and I feel like I can kind of get back to it. But at that point, I was still in the honeymoon phase of getting certified. So I became a trichologist in October of 2023.
Three. It have been like
Yeah,
just about a year ago, or just over a year ago.
And I had just moved my room in July. And so I was like riding this high, because of course, when you get certified in things, they always tell you like, oh, there's so much money in this. And you're like, sweet, I am going to be a
Tell me where I am there.
You want me to buy what software? Absolutely. Oh,
Sure.
And private label?
Again, though, whatever you tell me. Yeah, sure. That's the lie we're told all the time. Like, whatever you tell me, yeah, I'll do that, because like, you're not gonna lie to me. You know, like, it's that mentality of like someone else telling us what we need versus us figuring out what we need. And I think that's the biggest thing that entrepreneurs get stuck in, is
Totally.
like being so caught up in what so and so says that they need, and not doing the work either with the person. You know, like, that person might not be wrong, but they might not be fully right either, because like you didn't do the work to know that you were that person. Like, they could be right, that might be what you need, but if you don't do the work to figure out if that's what you need, then that's moot point, you know.
Well, and that's literally been what has like shaped the whole message of my company literally since TheBlox. Like,
Yeah.
because again, when I was auditioning, yeah, I was like 6 months out of, you know, oh my gosh, you can make so much money. And I can, because this industry is projected to grow by like 30% in the next 5 years. And it's already at it's already at $4 billion. And if it's going to grow by 30% in the next 5 years, like, yeah, I want some of that. And so there's a part of me that feels like that's kind of what brought me onto TheBlox, because, you know, as investors look at it, obviously they see dollar signs, right? Like, and absolutely. And, you know, I was also comparing, like, Jamie Kern-Lima sold It Cosmetics for $2.2 billion. And that started as a lotion in her living room, because when she was on air, it was crackling and nothing was working. And so she needed to find something. Otherwise, she wasn't going to be on air.
Mm-hmm. I love her.
Right? Love her so much. She's just her and Amber really.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Like a lot.
Also, her book has a holographic cover, so she had me there.
Her first one or her second one?
The Worthy book.
Oh.
Hold.
Yes. Yeah, because I mean, but her first one too, she's just standing there like this with arms up with a big old smile. So it's just like, well, of course I want to read that now too.
Right.
Wonderful. But all of that to say, like, you know, when I was in the middle of auditioning, I was like, I was asked, what do you feel like your company could be valued at when you exit? And I was like,
oh, thank God that I didn't get that question.
and truthfully, without hesitating, I was like, 3 billion. And it was like, did you say with a B? And I said, yeah, because I know that is the potential. And at that point, I hadn't been scared by all of the no's that I was getting. So it still seemed and it still seems very possible, right? Like it still seems like it's gonna happen. And I know it's gonna happen because now I know how to get there because I got all the other voices out of my head. One of them being like, oh yes, dress in scrubs with a white coat so that you appear more medically professional. Well, guess what? It's the exact opposite of what people want because, again, using my own personal experience, MDs or any like American medical professionals self-admittedly know nothing of what I talk about. Self-admittedly.
Also, like white coat syndrome, like not all people like doctors.
And that's what I realized is like when I started playing up this persona, it made people come in and they told me it felt
intimidating.
cold.
Yeah, it's intimidating.
And that is so the opposite of like on my cosmetic side of my business. It's come home. Like this is your home away from home. Let's be friends. Like, and so on the one hand, I'm like warming and inviting and all that. And then on the other side, people are feeling literally cold. And I'm like, yeah, that's the exact opposite of what I want. And so that was kind of one of the other things, again, in Tulsa, navigating back through that. And I now like still going on all of these things and still looking at my notes every single day. Like my BloxFam notebook has become like really important thought process.
Yeah.
Like if I'm talking to investors, if I'm talking to anybody, like if there's anything for the business, it goes in there and it does not become scribble. Like it's important and it's like in there. And again, because once you weed out all of the things, you don't need all the things. As I throw my pen. But so that's actually like kind of helped me now on this part 7 of my hero's journey. Oh my gosh. So when we were talking about hero's journeys for websites and stuff.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. And he was like, so you're the person coming to you is Frodo. And I was like, okay, right now I feel like Frodo and my husband feels like Sam. Like I'm trying so hard to just get this not destroyed, but get it to where I need to go so that the next part of my journey can continue.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my gosh. So then what am I trying to do? And that's why like I've been in like it's like this game that my husband and I play now. I'm like, okay, what about this for a name? What about this for a name? He's like, explain it to me. Tell me. Not sure if I buy in yet. I'm like, I'm not there yet. But like I want it to be something like the way back or the guidepost or because I don't have the answers, right? Like I don't have everything that's going to apply to every single person because oh my gosh, guess what? We're all incredibly unique. I don't understand. And this is what I've had to tell myself now. Like, okay, so as a kid, we're told everybody's special. We get older, everybody's unique. Everybody has their own unique qualities. And then something happens and it's, well, yeah, you've spent your entire life being unique and one of a kind and all of that. But to heal you, we're going to actually just do a one size fits all generic approach. And I truthfully believe, and I don't say this lightly, but I feel like, again, miscarriage for me was one of the worst experiences of my life. And I got got to experience that 3 times, and in all of the ways too. Like I was just talking to my dad about it. I'm like, well, yeah, if you need to know how to handle a miscarriage or what a miscarriage is, like I've literally had it all, so I can tell you my experiences on that, right? And so now I'm like, okay, it sucks, but now I can help somebody else so that they don't feel alone, so that they don't feel like, well, what did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. In fact, regardless of whatever religion you might agree with or whatever, or believe or whatever, the fact of the matter is the science proves that a miscarriage happens for
your
the
body,
long-term good, which again, as someone who's gone through it, not at all what you want to hear in the moment. And just like when you're a struggling founder,
I could write a book about all the things you don't want to hear.
For real.
Want to co-write it with me?
Yes. Like, oh my God, I don't care if it's part of God's plan. I feel like absolute crap right now. But that's honestly how I feel looking at my business, because I went through that, but then I got these 2 little magnificent creatures. So I'm telling myself that now, like, it sucks. You just had a miscarriage. It's okay. It doesn't mean that your body's broken or your business is broken or whatever. It's just, the environment isn't 100% right now. And that's what I'm holding on to. And that's what I feel like TheBlox gave to me, is like giving me all the tools, because no one is coming,
No.
And
I've been
now
in line a long time.
A long time. Like, how many
talk
scratchers?
to your manager, please.
Like, I'm while waiting in line, I feel as if I'm like writing formulas on, all of the how to cheat the lottery system type stuff, and I'm like, stop going down that path. And now it's okay. Again, no one new is coming because they're already here. You already have all of the people around you. Just, unfortunately, this is what I have to tell myself, you're going to have to continue being vulnerable. You're going to have to be honest and say, hey, you know what? I can't do this and I need help. Now, by that same token, does that mean that I'm asking every single person that I run into, like, hey, can I have some money? No, because honestly, at this point, I'm tired of asking for money.
Yeah.
It's great. It's wonderful. And then to be told, like, well, your non-existent credit score that we said that we weren't going to look to actually check out funding, it's actually going to be a very big, important piece of it. And it's like, well, then why didn't you just tell me that from the beginning so that I didn't get my hopes up? And so those are the types of things that are now feeding my business, which again is why I want it to be something like the way back or the guidepost or, growth points or whatever, or connect the dot. I don't know, but it's something where it's like, the reason why we're asking these questions about our hair, our scalp, our bodies, our mind, whatever, we want to get back to our favorite version of ourselves. So
I think it's important to recognize, though, that like we're never going to go back. I think it's important to help people open their realization of opening their mindset of who they've yet to become. Right? Like, I feel like the name that you choose needs to feel transformative. It doesn't have to use the word transformation. It doesn't have, but like, it has to connect from a transformative level, and it has to be forward thinking, because none of us can go back to a certain point. Like, would I love the body I had, like, when I was actually an athlete, and like, like I had mad hops and was like really good at volleyball and like all these things. Would I love to go back to that? Fuck yeah, I would. But I would, that would mean that I could have never became the person I am now. And truly the depth of my story is everything of who I am now. And that's something that for a long time I've been very quiet about. I've been very like ashamed to talk about, a very, whatever. And I'm definitely more in that era of like, I want to open up about this because I want to face it and get through it and it not have a hold on me anymore. But also, like you said, to like access the potential of helping someone else who may have a similar story, but is still at that stuck point where they need to hear something different from someone else. And I know that I can be that person for someone. Do I know who? Mm-hmm. No, that's like kind of the joy of life. Like, we don't know, but we do know that we'll never reach that person if we never try. And I think that's why I'm in such a transformative phase of really trying to prioritize the education sector of my business because I feel very passionate and strongly about utilizing all of the things that I've been through to help someone else either not go through it or to help them through it because they're already in it, but too afraid to talk about it, too afraid to ask for help, right? That's a mompreneur thing, you know? Like, I mean, that's an entrepreneur thing in general, but like mompreneurs especially, like, I'm sorry, but
Mhm.
like us ladies, like, we don't like to ask for help, right? Like, that's just not that's not typically the way we were like raised or just the life that we had growing up. It's just something we don't like. We want to hold on to our power. We want to hold on to our control. And that becomes a very hard thing, but that's also a very transformative phase when you finally do open up your mindset enough to recognize that asking for help doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you stronger. It actually makes you, a different person, a bigger person, a wider vision. All of the things, could
Mhm.
come on the other side of something as simple as asking for help.
And that's the thing. Like, how many times do we see now on all social media platforms? I mean, you're even seeing. I was just actually because you went and saw Pink, didn't you?
I did. And I just kind of scooched my way up to the front. That's a story for another day. But my tickets
Oh.
were like in the back on the floor. My brother-in-law bought me and my sister floor seats at Soldier Field, and we were like, our seats were like all the way in the back of the floor, which, like, mind you, is still like incredible. But it was my birthday. Like, the day was actually my birthday, and we were kind of like, let's just go on Ticketmaster and see like what seats aren't purchased yet. And then we found some and we went up there. And then those seats, funny enough, were like physically not there. And so they ended up giving us tickets to go into like 3 or 6 rows back from the outer stage. Oh my god, it was a wild. That's a story for another day. It was wild. It was a wild experience, but it was one of those like, let's see what happens. Like, what
Well,
if?
but and here's the thing, like, one of the things that I absolutely loved about our filming was the first day everything was alphabetical in our pod, and the fact that it was like Jackie, Jess, Jessica, Jessi, Jen, Jennifer, Joyce, like we had just all the J's, right? And that literally, again, when you were talking about how carefully curated everything was, I literally was sitting there, and I feel like at every new stage that I get certified, or I take that leap out there or whatever, I find myself in a new room, and a smaller room, of my people. Like, these are my people.
Like, they
And
weeded everybody. They weeded the world out for us. 1,000%. Yes.
like 100%. And I was so happy to have Haley as our first coach. She
Same.
eased us in beautifully. She
Not
was
only that, but the whole
wonderful.
alphabetical thing was the icebreaker. It was like Jess, Jenny, Jen, Jennifer, Jessica. Like, oh my
Say
god.
you were born in the mid 80s without saying you were born in the mid 80s.
That was our room.
That was our room. And that's why I loved it so much, because I was like, oh my God, these are literally women. It was all women.
No, we had yeah, you might be right. Yeah, you might be
I
right.
think we were all women. Or was Joe in there that day?
No.
I don't think Joe was in there that day. Okay, so we
I know
went
Jen and
together for
Bonnie were
all
in
but
there
one.
because I was in Jen and Bonnie's room 3 times, and we were like, that was what we kept talking about, was that like we like wanted to hate each other, but we actually really liked each other. But it was like, can we please get in a pod with someone else? Because like, I feel as though they are like some direct competition here, and I would like to be in a pod where I don't feel like that. I love
And I
them though; they're
think
my favorite.
I was so like, I did not prepare for, like I said, I did not prepare for that show in the right way. So like, I really wasn't even like thinking about the
I didn't
whole.
go for the game. They went for the game, and that's fine.
That's fine.
That's
Totally
fine.
fine.
I did not go for the game. So like, I didn't really like let myself get into the mentality of like, oh, I really should have watched the other seasons, because I didn't really go for the game. And there was only one day, and I can't remember which day it was. There was only one day where I was like, damn it, why didn't I just watch it? And then I was like, you were not here for that. Like, it's okay.
No. And that's what I had to remind myself of every time, because then I also look back at the people that really did look at it for the competition element.
Mm-hmm.
They had a ready to market product. I did not have that at that point. Like, I'm still not 100% sure on like my exact footing,
Mm-hmm.
but I have like a song. Not even going to finish that sentence because that sounds too much like somebody who's orange. There.
I love us. It's just continue.
But like, I knew what I'm offering, but I didn't have it wrapped up with a bow. And the people that kept making it on stage had it wrapped up with a bow. But I think part of the reason too why I was there is because I've already bought the gift. I've already got all of the party invites. I've already got all, like, I already know where I'm going and all of the things. I just need to wrap it up and get to the party type of thing. Like, that's literally where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that really has helped even now, because, and again, it's exactly why I don't want, like, the idea of the names like the way back or the guidepost. But then on the flip side, because I want it to talk about growth and future potential, and the way it was is not the way that it's going to be, and embracing that for all of the good that is, because same thing. My dad lives with us, and he asks me, not all the time, but like we'll somehow come up in conversation, and I will tell him as often as I can, because I know it weighs on him, that even though my childhood and teenage years and everything was a struggle, I am now in a position where I can unequivocally say, without a doubt, I would not change anything, because had I not gone through that, I literally would not be the person that I am today.
But it took you a long time to get there. It took you a long time to build the width of your mentality, of your vision, of your perspective. Yeah, for sure.
And the thing is too, it took a long time, but it also didn't take a long time, because if you also go back and look at it, like, okay, looking at my kids now as a parent, there is no way that when my children were 4 years old, they had the capacity to be the people that they are right now, because they weren't fully formed. So just like myself, like, how many times do we hear like, oh, your frontal lobe doesn't fully form until you're 25? So then why are we expecting ourselves to have everything figured out at 21? Because the messages are there around us. However, when you look at the rest of the world, the messages are not there, but that's an entirely different conversation for a different day. But, you know, like, we're forced into these models of what's supposed to be. And if you challenge that, you're the one that's the problem, because again, there was not a model growing up that was okay. Whereas now, this is where I get back to Pink. Look at all of the people right now, or I should say, the people that I find myself gravitating toward as individuals have gone through just as much crap and are open about how much crap they've been through. Yeah. Not detailed. It doesn't have to be detailed. It doesn't have to be a
crap is crap, right? Like,
crap is crap. And, you know, it's the same thing when I hear people like, well, I don't have the same as you because I have this. And I was like, it doesn't matter. You have your things. I have my things, all the things, right? And so now this is where we have to come to the table, all of us together, and recognize, hey, we all have our crap. We all have our things. Let's figure out how we can grow together with all of those things. What tools do we all bring to it? And that's why, like, even
like collectively, our toolbox is huge, man.
It's massive.
Exactly.
It is massive.
I feel like we need a toolbox podcast now. We need to like co-host a toolbox podcast. It could be called "It's Jess with a Toolbox." It's Jess in a toolbox. It's a Jess box.
It's a Jess box, and that's
two Jesses in a box.
No.
Extra for that. We'll put a pin in that for right now. We'll table that. But seriously,
like, those are the types of things, and so, you know, it's been watching a lot of movies and TV shows, listening to music, like literally just getting down to bare bones and what messages do I want to be following? What
Do you
messages?
feel like you're hyper focused? Like, do you feel like you have a hyper focus or a hypersensitivity to certain things now after filming, of just kind of really starting to like think a little bit deeper about that, or think a little differently about that? Or like, I feel like I'm very hypersensitive to certain things where like before I would have been like, yeah, whatever, like the
Yeah.
sky's blue. And now I'd be like, the sky today is like topaz. It's like a, I feel like I have a very heightened sensitivity in my brain to things. I don't really know how to put that into words, but you're nodding your head, so I feel validated. I feel like I'm not crazy here. Okay.
Without a doubt. I mean, even down to like, especially right now with all of the holiday commercials coming out,
Mm-hmm.
it is amazing to me the difference of message.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some that it's basically be you and we will support you being you. And then there's other ones and it's no, you're going to like what we tell you to like. And I'm like, no. No. And that's what I feel like we're at right now just in life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I won't get into, what's happening next month, but we've all just kind of had it. Like enough is enough. And it doesn't mean that it has to turn into like the civil war that everyone's been talking about is coming.
Yep.
First of all, if you think it's coming and hasn't already been here,
I was thinking that, but was also like, I don't get into that. I don't get into the P word at all.
For real.
Just like we were supposed to when we were filming, but someone's name that started with a J definitely got into that. But anyway,
was it Jess?
It was not. It was a three-letter name. Okay, so I want to get slightly back on track here for the sake of the fact that I don't think everybody wants to listen to us for like 2 hours, and that's probably like where we're headed. So I'm gonna kind of come back. I'm gonna put us back on the road here. And we've already talked about a lot of this stuff actually with like not needing like an introduction, but when you think back to the filming aspect of things, what part do you think was the hardest for you? Like super specifically, like what part? And please don't say public speaking. I don't let people say that.
I have no issues with public speaking.
Yep.
I did improv. I did theater. No, I have no issues with public speaking. No, for me, talking about myself and my business and bragging about it. Because again, messages growing up,
yeah,
you don't ever talk about yourself. And so that's honestly why I feel like it was such a struggle, because on the one hand, I believe in my business and I know what it can do and I know what's possible just from the handful of people that I have, myself included. Like I am my first client. Yeah. I know what's coming of it because I can also, and I do this all the time, I look at like, look, my hairline's growing in, because when I get down on myself, I have to have those little reminders of like, So anyway, yeah, that was probably the hardest part, was finding what I could brag about my business.
Yeah. Like really kind of weeding through, like, what do you feel like, in that struggle, part of the story you were telling yourself was, well, what do they want me to say? Or what do they want to hear? What am I supposed to say? Versus like, here's what I'm going to say. Yeah. Like kind of just I'm not positive. Like, what do they want to say? I kind of know what I want to say, but I don't think that that's what they want to say. Like, I constantly kind of struggle with like what I think versus what I'm supposed to do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because also too, I kept seeing who was winning, who was getting noticed. And I'm like, what? And again, I'm not challenging anything that the judges decided, because they are the judges and they were obviously clearly looking for something, which is also why we don't know what the rubrics are, which that's totally, totally fine. I get it, because then it's just going to turn into you're comparing to somebody else instead of doing what you need to be doing in your business. So absolutely there were times that it was just like, well, why don't I just switch? Because they they said something and there was seemed to be resonating about that. And it's like, well, yeah, you dummy, because it resonates for their business.
Yeah.
Stop trying to look at all of the
Like the whole
things.
point is that there's no apple to apple to comparison here. Like there is, we're all just a bunch of half rotten apples in a field.
And that's the thing, like that I think is ultimately what I realized being there too, was we've heard it for so many years that one bad apple ruins the bunch, right?
Sure.
And it or spoils the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
That show made me see the new perspective of, yes, but one golden apple can fire up the bunch.
1000%. Oh, I like that. Ooh, we're gonna make sure that ends up in the show notes because that's huge. I really like that.
And you don't know what that golden apple is. You don't know if it's going to be, you know, a coach like what we had. You don't know if it's going to be somebody that you met in
That's the
your
beauty of it,
pod.
though, is that you don't know.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
don't know. And so you
Yeah.
have to be open to everything, because especially as a founder, you don't know where your next person is going to come from.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if somebody that you randomly saw, because how many times have we seen like, oh, all the business deals are made out of the boardroom?
Yep.
It's true. It is true. And so that's why it's not, you have to live your life faking it. Oh, no, 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 no. It's, you need to, going back to what we love so much as founders, that is why your why is so important.
Yep.
Say what we want to say, but I mean, going back to my journalism days, you know, the 5 W's still stand true, because if you do not address those and know what those are for you, you're just going to get turned, you know, all the directions other than what is meant for you, your best path, not what you're supposed to do, not what you, no, what literally feels right
Mm-hmm.
to be your path.
Yes, I don't care what it sounds like. I want to know what it feels like, because I'm the one that has to live with that feeling. I can turn the sound down. I have the ability and the choice to turn the sound down, as do we all.
Mm-hmm.
But the ability to actually make that choice is what's hard for most of us. And truly, I think that one of the biggest lessons I've learned along the way as an entrepreneur is making that choice, is turning off the noise and, you know, cranking up my own damn station and just, you know, like the world is so noisy. And the thing is like, I feel like a lot of people are waiting for the world to be less noisy. And the reality of that is that it's never going to be. If anything, it's only going to get noisier. And I think that's, again, kind of the mentality of waiting for someone to come and turn the music down, when in fact you could turn it down right now, today, and go on your way. And I think that for me has been the most transformative part of entrepreneurship, is
Mm-hmm.
really starting to recognize and believe that that's a choice that I can make. I can
Mm-hmm.
choose to walk away. I can choose to turn the music down. I make those choices, and recognizing choice is one of the hardest things as an entrepreneur. The hardest. But when you do start to like recognize it and embrace it, it's also the most powerful tool that you can hold in your
Mm-hmm.
tool belt.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And honestly, you know, that's what I, you know, going back to the name change too, like that's why I keep tossing it around, because going from that all the way to other things like brunch, where we bring an understanding together and chat. Those are the types, like I want it to feel more about that. Like, let's, because even when I'm doing stuff with clients, just like you're learning something else about how you can just make that little shift in your business to make it better. I have, since coming back from the blocks, that's one thing that I talk to my clients about all the time. Like, especially the ones that are just starting out on this new phase of the business. I tell them, hey, thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for putting up with all of the growing pains. Thank you for what you are providing by sticking with it with me. Yes, I want to reward that a little bit for you. So maybe I'll have like a VIP group or something like that,
Yeah.
founders group. I don't know. But if you can demonstrate to the people that are your ride or dies, because I hate that phrase, then they're going to trust you. And that's what this is all about, is like, especially for what I'm doing, it's a very sensitive realm. Even if it's just a haircut, it's not just a haircut. Even if it's just color, it's not just color.
Yep.
So I think it's recognizing the importance that we have, again, by choosing to turn off the music or turn it down in your own space. And I feel like it's also kind of just representative of life, because I swear, you know, when
For sure.
you first turn 21 in the States, right? You're like, oh my God, I want to go to like all the clubs and I want to like do all the things, because that's what everybody does when they turn 21. And you do that for my own self. I did that for a year, maybe. Of course, then granted, I did move to Chicago and there's not nearly as many clubs as there are in good old Tucson, Arizona. So, you know, then it was just like, oh, we don't have big clubs. Actually, I'm really good with that, because now I can actually like sit and talk with people.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was enjoyed into the world of dive bars, which I also think is a misnomenclature, because no, hole in the wall bars, in my opinion, are some of the best places ever.
It's all mindset shift.
It's all a mindset shift. Wine bars, whiskey bars, dive bars, they're small and communal. Why? Because they're more representative of salons that used to exist so that people could sit and chat for hours in comfort.
Yeah.
And then, oh, well, you know, let's not also forget hair salons, barbershops. Like, where do you get it's not, people get their news and their updates from, now especially, the less than, standard platforms or paths of information, because largely there's a lack of trust.
Yeah.
And so those are the types of things, like, ever since coming back from the blocks, that I'm looking at and I'm like, yeah, oh yeah. So like when you were saying, I look at the details in everything. I look at the details in everything. Like how I'm talking to my kids. Ooh, is that how I talk to my clients?
Oh, no. when they talk back to you and you're like, shit, I guess I do talk to my kids like that.
Whoopsie.
Mm-hmm. My son told me that it sounded like a me problem, and I was like, okay. I say that to my boyfriend all the time. So like he'll complain about something and be like, yeah, that sounds like you problem, man. And then all of a sudden he says it to me and I'm like, oh, that stings. Okay.
Yeah.
Word. I recognize.
they have told me many times, they're like, oh yeah, it's like that short-term, long-term thing again, huh? Like, yep. And then of course as they go walking away, I'm like, oh my God.
How old are your kids?
8 and 6.
Okay. So mine is 7. So we're definitely in the same
right there
realm of just single digits, but also teenagers. I really don't feel like I was this much of a savage when I was younger, but my mom likes to remind me that I was. So okay. Well, I didn't break that cycle.
Yep. My dad very often likes to be like, no, yeah, you were not like that at all. That you are. I was like, oh, thank you. Or smarter than you were. Or what was another one that he did? Yeah, you never thought like that.
My mom is the one who was like, I told you you'd understand one day. I'm like, damn it.
Oh, all the time. All the time. Like, especially not even relating to parenting, but like seeing trends come back.
Yeah.
And he's like, welcome. Been here for a while. Or, like, athletes.
That's nothing new.
Yeah, athletes that are retiring. And my husband and I are like, I remember their rookie debut. And he's like, come on, have a seat. Come on.
Yes.
I've got the compression socks waiting, And like those are the things now that make me so happy. Like I get excited when my personalized supplements arrive.
Yes.
Because again, I understand I cannot do this on my own. In all the theories, I would love to be having 3 square meals a day that are a colorful plate and have a healthy blend of protein and blah, 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 blah.
Well, unless you're Jen and Bonnie, because Jen just had kids menu all week. Anyway, that's another story for another day. Okay, so we've got to start to wrap this up because I do have another call at 12:30. Okay, so of all of this, I guess I want to think a little bit more specifically towards the blocks here. I mean, obviously, we are two humans who have been through a lot in our entire lives and have lots of lessons that we've learned. But a little bit more specifically towards our time at the blocks and maybe our time since then. What was like your biggest takeaway that you would give as advice to another entrepreneur who might be in maybe a similar phase as you are, or just really in any phase? Like what advice would you give to an entrepreneur? Stumped ya.
Trying to like limit it or narrow it down to one thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Get rid of your ego.
Oh, I like it.
Not in the sense of like getting rid of your drive. Like I'm not saying that at all.
Totally. Yeah.
But like what we've been saying today, all the things that we thought we should do, all the things, like it's not about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's about what you are providing. It's about getting that next step, that next 10% shift.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that if you're thinking about what people are going to think of you in that moment. You're not going to be, and this is what I tell myself now every single day too. So it hasn't really changed, but it has changed, but it hasn't changed.
The meaning probably changed a little bit. Like it evolves. It doesn't change. It just evolves. Yeah.
It just exactly. And that's the thing. Like we're always evolving. And it's how do you find your place in that? Where is your footing in that? Because, and again, what I have to tell myself all the time, you needed to do this because you didn't see it. So remember that. Like that's the part of the ego to remember of, again, why did you think that this was something that had to be shared with the world? What was it that drove you to do that? And then basically shifting that without your ego in it.
Yeah. Like really diving into the deeper meaning, really diving into like, stop letting it be so surface level. Like really let the deeper layers free, like let them show a little bit, like stop being so surface level.
And it's funny because actually it's kind of like my whole approach now. Like this is going to sound so weird. I really resonate with trees right now. Like it's so stupid. But like on the one hand, yes, go down to that root system level so that you can grow your tree. Because this is another thing that I do is like, I stay so stuck on that when I then apply it to my business, it's like, oh, okay. So then it turns into, okay, so, oh no, actually this is getting the ego out of it as well there too. Like the website doesn't have to be pretty. Mm-hmm. The message isn't exactly perfect on the exact thing. Like that's the thing. It's like get down to the nitty gritty so that something can grow, because we have trees and plants that grow every single season a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. But when winter comes, we know that they're going to come back up because the foundation is there. And so that's the thing. Get the ego out of the foundation because it's not going to grow. But then when you do see the plant come to fruition every single spring because of, regrowth and everything, that's when you can look at it on a different level, right? Like that's when you look at it as a plant. Don't dissect it and be like, oh my God, no, that plant is all wrong because that one leaf has that one wrong. No,
we're so obsessed with what we envision that plant looking like at the end, right? We're so fixated on the conclusion, on the like the after, the before and after. Like we're so fixated on the after, and truly becoming a successful entrepreneur, in my opinion, is being more focused on the process of getting from before to after. Like the you have to be willing to plant the seed and watch it grow. You can't just throw. I mean, this is also like the mentality of why we transitioned from a marketing agency to a branding agency, because there was just so much focus on throwing money at the problem that you see versus the root of the problem that exists that you don't want to see, that you're choosing not to see, because it's easier to see the tangible thing than it is to focus on the intangible, to focus on the thing that has variables and has the risk of failure and has a right. The after is the result. The after is the win. The after is never the loss, right? Like when we think about before and afters, and we think about, all these transformations, the transformation on the other side is a positive. It's never marketed as like, look at me, I lost. Look at me before. And then look at me, I lost. It's never like that.
And then too, on top of it, that after is eventually going to become a new before.
Absolutely. Yes. It's part of a cycle.
Exactly.
You gotta recognize that.
And when that is not realized, that's where the problem is, because it gets so focused too detailed. And again, I'm just as guilty of like, I have to snap out of it and have somebody be like, no. And that's what the BloxFam was. But I'm not going to have the BloxFam every single year. And so that's what it has to be. It has to be something that it's just like.
What a bummer, but also thank God.
I know, right? And I mean, there's also a part of me that's like, okay, so now I have to do grad school. Now I have to do all that because I want to still be connected in it, because, oh my God, I know what I got out of just a week. And now if I could have that for like long term, wow. And so
Fun fact about that actually is I really wanted to jump into grad school. That just happened. The one that was like, I think it was in September or October. I really wanted to, but it came down to a decision of, I know I want that, and I know that I want that in the future. Or I know I want that, but I also know that I need to be in a certain place to be able to truly take what it has to offer. Because if I go now, I don't have the tools in my toolbox to make that worth my money and my time. But I know that a version of me 6 months from now, when I get through what I went through, what I took from the BloxFam and all the transformations that we're trying, the transitions and all that, I know of around the right place I need to be for that to be beneficial. And I had to recognize and admit to myself that right now was not the time. And that was fucking hard, right? Because we came back from the BloxFam all high and almighty, right? Like we're on top of the world of like what we're gonna do, and to make the decision that's hard is typically the decision that's going to take you the farthest. I firmly believe that. If anything, I feel like that's what I took from the BloxFam.
Oh no, for real. For real. And that's literally what it is for me too. And that's why like the next round, like I'm obviously not available for any of the ones for this year, but that's why my next goal is what? March is the next one?
Yes. I think it's I think it's the end of March, and I already got the dates and I can't go because I'm not gonna be out of town. So I'm gonna have to wait for a different, because it's spring break week.
Oh.
So I can't go to that one, and I'm hoping there's another one after that.
But that's exactly where I am too, because it's just like I see, Gemma's posting all those stuff.
I know. I have lunch with her tomorrow too. I'm like, I have so many questions.
And that's the thing. Like I know that when I have my package and I get to the party, like I'm not ready to get to the party, because grad school and beta blocks, that's the party, right?
Yeah.
Like that's living in the sorority house type thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not there yet. Like I need to just graduate high school, and then I can rush Greek life. You know what I mean? Like that's what has to happen first. And I think unfortunately it sucked to say no, and like saying I can't be a part of that because I really want to, especially knowing everything that we got from the BloxFam.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I would be wasting my time, Wes's time, everybody else's, the person whose spot I took because I had to be there first. And it's like, no. Because now knowing, again, just what came from this, it's like, oh, when I actually have a ready for market product, that's what I'm going.
Yes. Well, you know what? Cheers to us for making the harder decisions and, really allowing ourselves to kind of exist and absorb in the journey aspect of it versus continuing to unhealthily focus on this, shiny object destination that doesn't exist. Truly, I think recognizing that the destination doesn't exist, the limit does not exist, the destination does not exist, and I want to soak in everything I can along the way, without a destination in mind. I want to get on the road in a motorhome and just fucking drive. I just want to drive around, see what I see, and go where I go. I don't want there to be, a destination. So as we wrap this up, I love to do just like a super random rapid fire at the end, just because I think it's fun to kind of like get to know people on the most random level. So I'm going to go through a couple questions here. What is your guilty pleasure television show?
Oh God, I don't have one. I'm an ex Real Housewives. I swear there's not one like guilty.
I don't watch TV that much anymore.
So. It's not really a guilty pleasure. It's fascinating. But The Circle on Netflix, it's a social media like reality show. It's fascinating. It's more of like a study in human psychology and sociology, and my dad will even watch it with us.
Whoa.
I know, but it's so good. That's probably it. The Circle.
I'm writing that down. See,
highly recommend.
Really, I asked these questions for my own. I'm just kidding. All right. What is your favorite way to unwind after a long ass day?
I have to keep it G-rated.
What?
Do I have to keep it G-rated?
G-rated? What the fuck you think we are?
Honestly, oh God, this is another example. Why do I feel like judged by it? But literally just some weed.
Yay, yeah, girl. Fuck.
Because did the whole drinking thing, and it's not to say like I don't drink anymore, but I just don't like how I feel on it. So yeah, probably watching sports and just having some snackies and just having a nice little pull on my vape pen.
Yay, there you go. What sports do you watch?
All of them. It's a problem.
No,
literally favorite? Like, well, I'll tell you, like my birthday, I love it because it means that the start of my favorite sports season is coming, which is fall. Because I get hockey, baseball, football, college football, college volleyball. Yeah. So like there was a day that I almost had it perfectly, but when I open up my like sports app and I have just like all of my team, but see, that's fine. I got my Dodgers on for today.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, I'm a huge hockey, baseball girl. Love football, love volleyball. I watch it. I'm telling you, Holly plays hockey, so we're really into hockey as a family now too. For her, which is another one that like, oh, your daughter plays hockey, and does she play with all girls? And I'm like, no, she doesn't play with all girls. She plays with boys and girls because that's the way it should be. But
dude, I'm in this place where I'm like, man, hockey, lacrosse, like all these things didn't exist for us when we were kids. Like I wanted to play hockey. Like fuck, why didn't we get any of like the good stuff as kids? Yeah,
we saw it in movies in Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, but like that was never, girls on there. Like, lacrosse is like a major sport here now in high school. Like I have friends whose daughter, one of my really good friends, one of my really like client turned like best friends. Her daughter is just a little bit younger than Jackson. I think she's 6 now, and she plays lacrosse like a lot. And I'm just like, at 6 years old, was I doing anything other than like picking my nose and running around in a creek in the backyard? Like, I never had that opportunity when I was a kid. I'm kind of jealous. Actually, I'm really jealous. I'm not kind of jealous. I'm really jealous. I'm really jealous. I played with sticks, and these people play with sticks with nets on the end, and they run and they hit people and they knock people over. Man, when I was a kid, that was frowned upon. Okay, I got in trouble for doing just that. And now these kids get to do it like for a job, basically. It's bullshit, really.
Hey, that's how I felt about esports. I'm like, it's not to say that it's not a skill. I'm not saying that at all. No. But like, you can go to college on a scholarship for esports. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, one of my cousins just did, actually. He's at Michigan State.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
love that.
It's crazy.
I love that.
It's crazy, but amazing at the same time. Okay, one last question. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Depends on when I went to bed, if I'm an early bird.
So if you're a night owl, you're not an early bird. But if you're an early bird, you might not be a night owl.
See, but
So
that's
you're
the
somewhere in the
thing.
middle. Okay. You would like to ride in the middle.
I'm a morning owl. Like, I
don't know what that means.
I don't either. Because that's the thing is like I'm not a night owl. Like I'm now at the point I used to be, but like now if I stay up too late, my stomach hurts. Like that. That's where I'm at in life. So,
I am at the place where I fall asleep at 8:30 in my son's bed with him because I'm just tired.
like we just finished our summer softball. You know this, being in Chicago, summer is an entirely different city or place, and like
my boyfriend plays softball, so yeah, I get it.
You know, so but we had double headers on Friday nights, and our first game started at 8:40.
Oh yeah, he's had first game start at 9:30.
And then, like Rick, my husband, he's like, well, it's a good thing we're not playing hockey. And I was like, well, first of all, I don't do well on ice, so that's a youth sport. But second of all, it is a good thing because those games start at midnight.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. I'm like, guys, I understand. We really love beer league. It's great. I'm all for it.
No, I'm not. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. That's
like,
no.
Because again, where does my brain go? This is literally where my brain goes. I'm like, listen, that means that you're not going to get to bed until probably 2 a.m. on a good day. Minimally. That's and that will be happening because you haven't showered, you haven't cleansed the sweat off of you. So then I started thinking like that's going to jam up all of the pores in your head. So they're not getting the nutrients.
This is when we know too much, and then
this is when we know too much. Yeah. And then I'm like, and then the helmet's going to be on there, so then you're going to get like traction loss where your helmet is, and then your gut's probably going to be all angry because it's not getting the 7 to 9 hours that you need to fully reset your systems and all of these things. And I'm like,
girl, you just found the door you need to walk through. Educate the shit out of them, man.
No. Oh my God. No, even before that. Okay. Like I said, hockey, right? PWHL is all the thing, right? Which I freaking love. And there needs to be more teams. But Sarah Nurse was just talking about how in the next 10 years, we're going to see the entire landscape changed because women in sports has not existed really, right? Even down to the venues, we don't see the things that we should be seeing because it's all been geared towards men. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that is absolutely what my target, like, and that's why like I need to serve the underserved. First I was thinking like menopausal women because that's perimenopause, all that stuff, and our bodies are just all out of whack. But then I was like, oh my God, no, it's like women and how they're like training in sports, and I can then do all of this remotely. And so literally when I saw that interview, she has her email address on her Instagram, and I literally have it as a draft so that I remind myself to and I have it as a draft because I haven't written it yet, because that's one of the things I'm like, write it.
Write it.
Like, liar.
No, stop waiting. Write it and send it. That's your homework. In fact,
that's what I'm
going to check
doing
with you on Friday and make sure that you have written and sent that email, because action. Have you learned nothing from me? Action.
Actually, Amy will keep me in check because I have a digital organizing thing.
Oh, hell yeah, girl. See,
she'll be like, hey.
Excuse me. Gotta have proof. All right. I gotta wrap this up because I gotta get on with my day too. But me and Jess could literally talk all fucking day. So, you know, if there's something you feel as though if you actually made it through this entire episode, you feel that like we would be kick ass at like co-hosting a podcast on, leave it in the comments. Let us know what you're vibing with, and maybe we will just, you know, grace your presence with a whole new podcast, because you know what? Why not? Right? It doesn't really cost anything. So like I'm totally game. So, all right, Jess, if people are, you know, vibing with your story, vibing with your vibe, how can they find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Right now, all of my social, just I don't know, Instagram for now. Jess.Poynter is for everything. And my website is Jess Poynter, no dot in the middle, just Jess Poynter, all one. But yeah, we might have to re-edit that when the later because of the rename. So For
Well, I
now.
will put it all in the show notes, and if it does update, just know that it will be updated in the show notes as well. Jess, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I literally love chatting with you. I feel like okay. Super short backstory. Adjusted our virtual summit recently, and we really learned a lot about each other. We really learned even more about how similar we are, how similar our stories are. We're both wearing glasses today, and I kind of feel like we even maybe look alike. I'm not sure if I'm making that up, but like, okay,
No, I'm just the Pacific Northwest whiter, paler version because
I just have warm key lights up here. That's my secret. That's my
what
secret.
I need to do.
I spilled it. You heard it here first. I just have warm key lights in my office that make me look more tan than I am. I'm also very white. very, very, very white. So, okay. Thank you so much, Jess. I love chatting with you. I'm sure this will not be the last time that we chat. Thank you guys for tuning in, and leave us a like, leave us a comment, leave us something, show us some love, show Wes and the BetaBlox team some love. We love you all, and we